Hi.
Go.
Okay. I'm Jeanne Petrosky.
I'm Guzenski.
And we just had a beautiful little learning curve to get here. So I'm hoping that all of you are on and enjoying this. Thank you for coming to the Rittenhouse Square Fine Art Virtual Edition this year. With all that's going on, this is really the best of a bad situation. So we appreciate you coming. This is the Unconventional papermaking process, and we are JP Design. We want to thank our lovely assistant, Lisa Muller, the acclaimed artist. She'll be doing our video today and answering any questions. So just ask questions throughout the video. We're not going to wait till the end. Just chime in as you see it.
So basically what we're going to do is make a canvas that we use to paint. We make it out of handmade paper, and we make it in a different way than you usually do. So we're going to show you that process in a minute, just after we tell you a little bit about ourselves.
Yes. I've been a paper maker since 1987. That's 33 years, which is really odd since I'm only 32. And so that's so I've been a paper maker, and I have a fine art background from Montgomery County Community College, and then I took a year of craft at Tyler Art School, which is Temple's art school, and there I thought I had to be weird to be an artist, so I'm not that weird, and I left school to go into advertising. I met a woman at a party who had made handmade paper invitations, and I thought, oh, I'd like to try that. And that was in May of 1987, and I just immediately fell in love and was able to create beautiful pieces right away. I had never shown my work before, and I signed up for a show, and then people started buying things, and they weren't even my friends. And so that was 33 years ago, and I am grateful for you for supporting me and now us in the arts, and it's been a real adventure, and I can't thank you enough. And Dennis?
So my background is in painting. I was a regular house painter. I did Victorian houses up in the Scranton area, and then I went to school in New York and learned how to be a faux finish painter, and I really loved it, and we'll show you how that plays an important part in what we do today, because Jeanne is using the products I used to use on people's walls to create our artwork. Now, Jeanne's been doing Rittenhouse for 30 odd years, and I've been with her for 15 of those years. So that being said, and we got all these boring details out, now we're going to head into the paper making process.
And you can usually find us on the corner of 18th and Walnut at Philadelphia. Wait, that didn't come out right. Our booth is usually at the corner of 18th and Walnut. And where Hanukkah is usually our neighbor, and she's going to be giving her presentation after us. So stay on and make sure you see her too.
All right, let's get on with it.
You'll see part of our home throughout all this too. We moved our studio from a 1,700 square foot space into about a 900 square foot space. So it's very workable, but a little different. Okay, here we go. You can make paper out of all kinds of fibers. We use cotton. First of all, it'll last forever. We got interrupted with the question. Cotton fiber is what all good art has been made out of, all the books that have lasted centuries. So we figure that if that's good enough for us, or for them, it's good enough for us. So we rip this up, and this will hydrate in about 10 minutes. This is a a mixture that my dad built back when we started, and it's still plugging along. And I was very fortunate enough to have parents that supported me, and that's so important. If you're a parent of an artist, please, please, please give them support. It's a hard life to begin with without hearing negativity. So,
Did Dennis build?
my dad built it. Yeah. And that's it. We won't go through the whole, we won't have you sitting here for 10 minutes.
Okay, so we beat this usually for about 10 minutes. And
Okay. And that's for the pulp. Looks like. It has to get drained from water.
so this is the cotton pulp.
And in olden days, they would use what was called cotton rag. So if you hear paper with rag content, we don't beat up cotton rags, but we do this. And we use the cotton, the linters, because it's a means to an end. You know, the end is to make paper. And it's not that you can do all these other beautiful fibers that'll give you beautiful paper, but we're using, again, this as a canvas. So when I first started this, I would make paper with the traditional way, the Western traditional way, with a mold and a decal. And you put the fiber in the water, and you scoop up the fiber. Let it drain a little bit. And you know what? That's how simple it is to make a sheet of paper. Not technical paper. Technical paper, you have to put sizing in it. This is pure cotton. It has no sizing in it. It's just the pulp. And then it gets put onto this is a felt and a piece of cotton bed sheeting. And this is called couching. Isn't that's such a great, I love that word, couching, and it comes off. So again, this is the process that I had used for so many years. And also part of this is that the pulp was colored, was pigmented. So we're now use plain cotton, plain white, and use all the color is with paints. So there you have it.
Okay, so we want to make big sheets of paper. So to do this process, you could see that it would be very hard to do. So when we made paper like this before, you'd have to overlap sheet, overlap to make a big sheet of paper. So we came up with a different way. And we're going to start with the same white pulp, but you could see when I squeeze this pulp that all the fibers are just sticking together. So I have to do something to this to be able to make it go through the sprayer. So I'm going to put some additives in here. And one of them is called formation aid, which is going to make the fibers slippery so that they don't stick together. And then I'm going to add some methyl cellulose, which is an archival glue. And we're going to mix that up. And I've done this so much that I can just tell by feel that it's going to be right. And now I'll show you the difference to the pulp. So when I grab it now, you can see I can squeeze it right through my hands and it won't stick together. So this is ready for spraying now. That feels just about right.
And I want to tell you that there's a beautiful, professionally done video of us doing this on our website, which is jpdesignart.com.
Okay, now we're going to come over here, and how we start is whatever size paper that we need to make. We do a lot of commissions, so whatever size the customer requested, I will cut a piece of screening out. And we use black anodized aluminum screening so it won't rust. So today I'm making a sheet that's 47 by 25. So now we'll take this out into the spray booth, which is out in our shed. Follow us.
Step down.
People say, how could you and Dennis work together? I could never work with my husband. And by the way, we're married. I could never work with my husband. Well, one of my dreams has been to work with my husband, not anybody's husband, but my husband. And so dreams can come true. He's real easy to live with, and it works most of the times. You know, there's times when it doesn't, but I'm grateful for this relationship.
Okay, we have a sheet of aluminum here. And what I'm going to do is spray some vegetable oil over it as a release agent. Okay, that's covered. Now, this is the sprayer. This is the orifice that the pulp has to come through, so you can see why I had to make it slippery. And now I'm going to put a layer on here. Might be a little loud.
It will be. When he first started doing this, to get the consistency of the pulp right, there were about 6 months of high explicatives going on in the studio because the orifice would clog all the time. And now that he knows how to do it, as he said, it was just like a feel thing. It's very pleasant in the studio now.
So I'm putting the screen in the first layer of pulp that I sprayed. I'm pushing it down in there. And now I'm going to put another layer over the top.
Do you want to just show quick, like start it, and then we'll go from there. We're not going to sit through the whole thing.
Okay. Okay. Now, I would cover, let me have that thing. Sometimes when we're spraying like this, we want to have texture. We could use different tools while the pulp is wet to get different types of texture.
And you'll see that more prominent in our artwork when we show it to you at the end.
So here's a piece I sprayed yesterday. Let me have this spatula thing. So this is already dried.
And you can see, yeah, you can see. Here's the wire. You can see the dark area is the wire. So he did overspray so that.
So one side of the paper is beautifully smooth like a canvas, and the other side is textured. So here's a part I textured. Sometimes we paint on this side, sometimes we paint on this side. Now we'll take it inside.
Look at our beautiful yard. Talk about inspiration. You know, we live in this idyllic environment, and it really helps calm our spirits, and that's part of what we intend our artwork to do, is to calm and give you a place of peace. Not that everything is going to be wonderful in your home, but it's a matter of the spirit of your mind and your soul.
You can see where the wire is still inside the paper. So what I do now is I'll take the edges and I'll tear them off. And this gives the paper that deckled edge that people who like paper making like to see. So all these pieces that I tear off can be rehydrated again into new paper, or we can use them to add into pieces that are, in other words, we can add them onto a piece like this and paint. I'll show you some pieces when we're done, what they look like. But this is what would happen. So here's the textured side. We made our canvas that we're going to use to create the artwork.
It now gets sealed up. There's no sizing in our pulp, and so if we paint it directly on here, it would just soak right in and would be terrible.
So we use pure acrylic clear over the top of this and seal it up, and then it's ready for painting. Okay. So anyway, that's
sometimes I have to put my apron on because all I have to do is look at paint and I get it on me. Sometimes we need extra texture or different texture.
So this is a piece that's already been sealed up with acrylic.
So this is what I mean by different or extra texture. And we'll have pieces that we can show you. Right? Okay, so the pieces that Dennis just ripped off, we rehydrate them, like you saw, and put in with the methyl cellulose, which is the glue. And can you see that on the white on white? And I can use it like clay. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but I could create, and I leave it high because when the water comes out of it,
as it dries,
it will shrink down. Or I can chop at it, or I use my fingers a lot. I usually do this on smaller pieces, but I've just started doing it on bigger pieces too. Well, first of all, it's what necessity is the mother of invention. We have all these tear-off pieces, and we have a big bag of them, and what do you do with them? So I've been doing this technique on bigger pieces too. That gives you an idea.
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, how my faux finishing career helped Jeanne with her paper making. All these products I used on people's homes, we still use on our work. because they were developed specifically for the faux finishing industry, but they're all environmentally friendly. They're all color fast. These are the colorants that we use. And Jeanne uses lots of glazes. And the glaze that, this is the glaze that we use.
And it's funny because
And it's clear and it has glycerin in it. And it enables you to put layer upon layer, and the colors when they're mixed together don't muddy. So it's really, really a forgiving product.
And we're concerned about your pieces lasting a lifetime, and you can pass them on. And so I checked with archivists and conservationists, and they approve our products. And so that'll be good for your knowledge, because we want you to have this stuff for a long, long time.
So here's a piece that I started. So again, here's the paper. It's very flexible. It won't fall apart because it's reinforced with wire. And what happens usually is, especially when we're doing trees, I will start the project and I get to this point and I'm like, okay, I'm done. And then Jeanne takes over and adds so together really well.
Yeah. And I have to say this, Dennis doesn't have much of an ego, so this piece will probably not look like this when we're done.
Exactly.
It's not like, oh, my precious piece, you have to really protect it.
I did have one piece in 15 years that made it through final approval without being touched by Jeanne, and it sold. So I'm very proud of that. Anyway, again, each piece that we make is individually created for you. If you want a commission, we've done pieces.
Little situation in our, what is now a garage, but our studio that cuts us out. So sorry for that. This is we did sell all of our birches. I don't have any currently, but this is, I want to show you a picture of what it could look like. I'm sorry for my shaking, I'm a little nervous. So, and I would ask you to check out our Facebook, JP, it's JP Design Art, Facebook and Instagram, JP Design, and see how, I'm going to be posting these and see what they look like, see what this final piece will look like. I just want to tell you that there is a JP Design graphic artist that is really good, but has nothing to do with us. So make sure you see our lovely faces on when you come up to our page. So I might look at this and go, okay, now what? And I'm going to just honestly start knocking this down. Remember, one of our principal core values of art is simplicity and peacefulness and calming. And we do a lot of commissions for hospitals and corporate centers where, you know, people don't want to be, well, I won't say what people don't want to do, but we want them to receive a space to breathe. And in order to do that, I think the piece should be calmer. So I'm going to start, and I like to work, this is just regular water. I like to work on a wet surface, so, because I work with a lot of thin, very thin layers of the glaze. And I'm just going to start knocking these bright colors down. It's funny, as an artist, not ha-ha, but humorously, that our lives get shown on to you. Whatever's happening in our lives, it shows up on our paintings. I've been told, oh, you must be really happy. When I first met Dennis, apparently my colors changed. I wasn't aware of that, but people were. And that's something that you don't get with a manufactured piece of art. You know, it decorates your wall, but what we want is to have you have spirit in your wall, in your home, to have an essence of a person, not just a product. So right now, I'm needing a lot of time to be quiet. With this pandemic, we've all been given a lot of time. And so what do we do with that? And but we're bombarded by information. So I just feel it's important to have peace around me and calmness. So you can see how it kind of works with, acts like watercolor. And a trowel is really one of my favorite tools to work with. Now this eventually will have about 20 to 30 coats of paint on it. And each individually gets dried in between. So I work on several pieces at a time. All right, I think that's about enough for right now. People often ask, well, how long did that piece of art take you? Okay, so in the industry, there's a snide remark that it took me 63 years, which is as long as I've been alive, because a piece of art really is a collection of all that we are. And it takes that long to sometimes develop. And I've gone through 7 very distinctive styles of art. Some of you have known me from the start. And I forget where that was going. Oh, but the real answer is, the time, how long does it take you to do this? The real answer is, as long as time as you give me. The paper process takes about 7 days between drying and curing and everything. But the painting process, usually people say, well, when is it done? Well, the painting actually tells you when it's done. And if you don't understand that, I can't explain that. Or it's usually, well, we have another day before the show, so let's wrap this up. But I'll work on it until it's done. And that could be a week, it could be 6 months. And that's what I know. Okay, so I'm being told that we got to get moving.
Let's look at some finished pieces.
Questions. Our website is pretty informative. It's jpdesignart.com. But you can always feel free to email me at info.com or call us, which the number is on your site, on our site, not on your site. I get it. Dennis is like pointing for the time. So that's one of our beautiful things together. For me, if I'm 5 minutes late, I'm on time. For him, if he's 10 minutes early, he's late. So it's a good balance. Okay, come on into our studio. Watch your. I like working with gradation. I feel like that gives a nice centering and calming place to be. Usually it's one color. I'm so simple-minded that I tried 2 different colors and I get confused. So if you're that type of mindset, our work is perfect for you. If you like, yeah, that's it. So that's a high texture piece. We go into, this is what we call another dimension. It's a cutout. And these are individual pieces that have been carved out of foam, and then the pulp is on top of them, and then the glazing on top. So that's that. So these are all individual pieces. And I was hoping to add more dimension into the piece. If you have seen our work before, it was highly sculptural, and now we're